We're continuing to follow developing news this evening. A Springfield police officer has been suspended after he was arrested in Connecticut for the alleged sexual assault of a student at Summers High School where he was a coach. Thanks for joining us for Western Mass News at 6 on this Thursday. I'm Chris Pisano. Western Mass News reporter Matt Price joins us now live outside police headquarters in Springfield with more. Matt?
Chris, an officer who just a few years ago took the oath of defending and upholding the law, now finding himself in trouble with the law. We're going to reveal the details of this case, but we do want to warn our viewers, some of what you're about to hear, you may find disturbing.
I'm disturbed about these allegations. I mean, it's one of my officers.
Springfield Police Superintendent Larry Akers not holding back his thoughts on accusations that have come to light this week. This after 27-year-old officer Justin Perez was arrested in Connecticut based on an investigation dating to last October. Connecticut State Police on Tuesday arresting the officer, who is also a former assistant coach at Summers High School. In court documents obtained by Western Mass News, Connecticut State troopers received a complaint on October 26th from a head coach at the school through the team's manager. According to the complaint, the 15-year-old sophomore told the coach she felt weird being around him and did not want to be around him. The victim telling the head coach that during the 2023-2024 season, Perez would act inappropriately with her. The student also saying Perez Snapchatted her during the course of that season, and that what began as strictly motivational coaching conversation turned into inappropriate comments and pictures. The head coach also telling troopers the manager discussed an incident in February of 2023 when the team was at an overnight tournament in New Haven, where athletes and parents stay in the same hotel rooms. She says Perez was texting her and trying to convince her to get a room with him so they could do stuff together. The coach also says there was an incident during a strength and conditioning practice last summer where Perez allegedly attempted to make a move on her after the victim's friend was sent back to the main practice room. Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno calling this entire situation extremely disappointing.
Police officers, like many of us in public service, are held to a higher standard, and you don't want anything these type of situations to occur, whether you're a public servant or not, especially when you're talking about individuals, he or she, that are underage on it. So very disturbing.
Springfield police say Perez has been an officer since 2022 and was assigned to administrative duties without a firearm since the department was informed about the investigation in October. He has now been suspended 5 days without pay. In an update released on Thursday, Springfield police say, quote, the Board of Police Commissioners, who handle all disciplinary matters that may exceed a 5-day suspension, have been notified. The Post Commission has also been notified. The Springfield Police Internal Investigations Unit has been in contact with Connecticut investigators in connection with these allegations since October. Superintendent Akers says he cannot fully comment on the matter at this time and says the department has not yet received a lot of information, but he hopes the truth comes out soon.
I'm certainly not going to say that I feel terrible for the officer and not the family. I feel terrible for everyone involved because it's tragic for everyone.
On your screen are the charges Perez is facing. They include risk of injury to a child, sexual assault in the 4th degree, enticing a minor, attempted sexual assault in the 2nd degree, and attempted risk of injury to a child. Perez made his first appearance on Wednesday in Rockville Superior Court and was held on $100,000 bond. Stick with us both on air and online as we continue to follow the latest on this story. For now, reporting live from police headquarters here in Springfield, Matt Price, Western Mass News.
All right, Matt.